And to the sexual abuse scandal that is rocking Penn State University.
And the legendary football coach Joe Paterno.
Dramatic announcement. Coach Joe Paterno fired.
Penn State prepping to bring down Joe Paterno's statue.
Thank you for everything.
Hey, one thing. Thanks, and pray a little bit for those victims.
On December 21st, 1926, Penn State's most renowned football coach was born. In his 46 seasons as head coach, he led the team to 409 wins, as well as 37 bowl games, 24 of which Penn State would go on to win. He led the team to multiple undefeated seasons. He won all 4 major bowl games PSU attended, and almost 300 of his former Chargers went on to play in the NFL. In 2006, he was inducted into the College Football Hall of Fame. What truly made Joe Pa an icon, though, was not his success in football or his thick square glasses, but his leadership and embodiment of Penn State. During his 61 years here, he donated more than $4 million to the university's academic life, including the money necessary to build the Paterno Library. In 2001, Paterno's wife and friends honored him for his 324th Division I coaching victory, as well as for all his contributions to Penn State, by commissioning a 7-foot, 900-pound statue of him with his right index raised in the #1 salute to be built outside Beaver Stadium. It would begin as a symbol of Penn State's success and honor, but within 10 years become nothing more than a symbol of disrespect and a reminder of pain.
It started when it became known that Jerry Sandusky, then assistant coach of Penn State's football team, has been abusing his authority and sexually abusing boys. The first signs of abuse arose back in 1998 with Jerry Sandusky's nonprofit for troubled youth, The Second Mile, when a mother reported that Sandusky both showered and gave a hug to a boy in the shower. Then in 2002, graduate assistant and Penn State's assistant coach at the time, Mike McCreary, reported to Paterno that he saw Sandusky sexually abusing a 10-year-old boy in the shower. Paterno then reported to athletic director Tim Curley. No law enforcement was called. Fast forward 9 years, it's 2011 and the grand jury report is released and Sandusky is arraigned on 40 criminal counts. As head coach, Paterno's knowledge of the crime was called into question. To this day, no one is clear on his knowledge of the event. Despite planning to retire at the end of the 2011 season, due to the pressure and criticism, he was fired. In a few months, Joe Paterno passed away due to lung cancer in 2012. Penn State's Board of Trustees decided to start an investigation which was led by the former FBI Director Louis Freeh. The report ultimately determined that Paterno, along with Curly Shirts and president of the school, Graham Spanier, had known about the allegations as early as 1998 and failed to disclose them. As a punishment, Penn State received a $60 million sanction, a 4-year football postseason ban, a reduction in scholarships, and a vacation of all wins dating to 1998.
On top of this, 6 months after Joe Paterno's death, the decision was made by Penn State President Rodney Erickson and the Board of Trustees to officially remove the Joe Paterno statue. In order to compromise, Paterno's name was allowed to remain on the library to show Penn State's thanks to his family's contributions.
However, the general reaction immediately following the removal of the Joe Paterno statue was largely mixed. The opinions of Penn State students, alumni, and fans of that time were no exception. A large number of people believed that it was a complete mistake to remove the statue. As the statue was torn down, 150 students watched, chanting, "We are Penn State." Many individuals thought that the removal was purely reactionary, a step taken to quell the conflicts that arose in the debates about whether or not it should stay. Others believed that the Freeh report was saturated with bias and that its unfair slant heavily contributed to the conflict that caused President Erickson to have the statue removed. Another opinion in support of keeping the statue was that the university was already stripped of its wins and placed under a postseason ban, and that removing the statue was beyond punitive. It was unfairly personal. Regardless of the reason, the removal of the statue was highly negative. As a matter of fact, big-name Penn State football players, both past and present of the time, took to social media to air their grievances on the issue. Then freshly graduated quarterback Matt McGloin tweeted, "The hotter the fire, the stronger the steel." By doing so, he affirmed his support for Penn State and Paterno, essentially stating that the university would bounce back after this trying time. On the other side of the aisle were those that were in favor of the removal. While some saw the Freeh report as unfair, others believed that it was a red flag, indicating that Penn State should drop any and all associations with the Paterno name. This action, sanctioned by President Erickson and the Board of Trustees, was favorable to many in the Penn State community. Some people didn't want Penn State's good name to be tarnished, and so they thought that removing the statue was a valid course of action. President Erickson said he believed the statue to be a recurring wound to the multitude of individuals across the nation and beyond who have been the victims of child abuse, and that it has become a source of division and an obstacle to healing in our university and beyond, and many agreed with his sentiments. Those that supported removing the statue believed in that action so much so that there were protests demonstrated in efforts to have the statue removed. There was even a plane flown around Beaver Stadium carrying the message, "Remove the statue or we will." These strong displays of support for removing the statue translated into relief and contentment after it was taken down. This controversy also instantly caught national attention and made its way into hundreds of 2012 headlines, news cycles, and pop culture. For example, in 2012, Barack Obama said that he believed removing the statue was the right call. In spite of all the attention the controversy garnered, there has been no direct action taken regarding the statue since it was removed. Today, for some, this controversial portion of Penn State's history has taken a back seat, but for others, they remain just as strongly convicted as they had been when it first happened in the summer of 2012. Recently, 200 past Penn State football players signed a petition to have the statue replaced. But how does the general public feel today, nearly 7 years after the controversy? We interviewed a few Penn State alumni who are willing to share their opinions on the subject.
What do you think about the removal of the Jopa statue? Well, I think this was the misguided and short-sighted reaction of a very poor Board of Trustees. Their job is to strengthen and support Penn State. The removal of that statue divided and weakened us like no other action they've ever taken. And yes, I absolutely remember the removal. It was really like being stabbed in the heart all over again. He was really like a father figure. He connected with every Nittany Lion, a constant figure on campus. He was always willing to engage in conversation. The removal of the statue is an outrageous result of overreaction, misrepresenting the facts, and our national obsession with casting this net of blame.
Everybody, including the media, everybody jumped to conclusions and just assumed that Joe Paterno should have done more or knew more and should have blown the whistle and told people. What they don't understand is that, yes, he did tell people, but he was naive and didn't understand what was going on. Nobody felt that a symbol of, him and what he did for Penn State was, good enough.
So do you believe his statue should be restored?
Absolutely.
Can you tell me why?
Why? Because he did a lot for this university. He was a good man. All right, maybe he didn't do everything he should have done, but he didn't know any better. So why was he persecuted for that? The man died, thinking that, lived and died for this university. He bled, literally blue and white, that man.
The statue absolutely should have been taken down, and it shouldn't be put back up. I think the statue is a spotlight and symbol of the Jerry Sandusky scandal. It's sad that Paterno died before he got to tell his side of the story, but that's how it went. He messed up big time. I'm not minimizing the contributions he made to the football team and Penn State as a whole, but in this area, he made a big mistake. For the last 7 years, though, Penn State has been remembered for this one tragic scandal. Jokes have been made, and the once proud Penn State has become a target for scrutiny. But one bad mistake of one bad man cannot describe an entire school. Since then, Penn State has ranked itself number 18 in national public universities according to U.S. News & World Report. Our graduate programs are ranked in the top 50 of America's best, and we are ranked 8th in the best online bachelor's program in the country. For years, we have seen success after success academically, yet word never got far because the glory was covered by the disgrace associated with Penn State.
The removal of the Joe Paterno statue exemplified the disgrace that was placed upon Penn State. Once a symbol of Penn State pride, respect, and success, the statue exemplified what it meant to be a Penn Stater and encouraged our community to be as proud and dedicated as Joe Pa once was. Removing the statue was detrimental to our school and community. At the time, it was one of the many reminders of the tragic scandal, but now, 7 years later, it's time to restore Joe Pa's statue and Penn State's pride, success, and respect along with it. Only by restoring the statue can we restore honor and pride. Only by restoring the statue can we bring glory back to Penn State. And as the alma mater suggests, we must do all things for the glory of Old State.